This is Darren DePaul. You may or may not know me as a voice in some video games you may or may not be playing. And right now, you may or may not be listening to The Gaming Outsider. Roll the theme song. There may or may not be a theme song.
Happy April, Gaming Outsiders. On this week's episode, Zack and Alyssa join me in discussing the cancellation of 2023's E3 Expo and how we feel about it. With April Fool's Day this past weekend, there wasn't much real news, but we still got a chance to talk about the issues PC players have been having playing The Last of Us port. You'll also hear my impressions of Curse of the Sea Rats, and Alyssa played a narrative game called the Game of Fortune. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. Today is Sunday, April 2nd. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Mr. Zack Parkerson. What's up?
What's up? I am a Midwest gaming classic. I'll tell you that much.
That's what I should have put for my name this week, Midwest Game. Also joining us, the ever-lovely Miss Alyssa White. How are you doing, Alyssa?
Aw, thank you. A little bit better now that I'm with you guys.
Aw, that's good to know. CB will not be here this week. Unfortunately, he literally lost his cat. Cat got out. And he is still searching the neighborhood looking for his cat, so he is not able to join us. But it's too bad because I had a bunch of really cool stuff to share with you guys that I did with CB this past weekend, as Zack alluded to. I went up to Milwaukee this past weekend to attend the Midwest Gaming Classic, which, if you're not familiar, is a massive video game convention. Think R2V2, only about 10 times the size of what we're able to put together.
But not nearly as cool.
Not anywhere near as cool. But it was a ton of fun. I got to meet up with Paul Hine, one of our dedicated listeners over on Discord. It's the first time I got to meet him in person, and he is the nicest dude on the planet. He's also taller than me, which is, I know that sounds weird, but I'm not used to looking up at someone like to talk to them. He's a very tall individual. So me being 6'2", I'm used to, eye level or a little bit lower when I'm talking to people. So, but super nice guy.
That's why I just never talk to anybody in the eye.
I don't either, but that's probably due to my autism.
Yeah. Also got to run into my friend Aubrey, who I attended high school with back in the 90s. I haven't seen her in over a decade, so it was really good to catch up with her. Also, CB's friend Brandon stopped by. Kevin Honingford was there, his son. Oh, and CB brought his son as well, too. So, overall, we ran into Stoy as well. Stoy and his wife over from the EXP cast. And then my buddy Brian was there as well, but we did not run into each other. We were fervishly shopping for games for our collection, and it was a lot of fun. I really wish you guys could be there. This is one of those moments where I wish the three of us, or four of us if you include CV, 5 of us if you include Kevin, 10 if you include our entire team, all lived closer so we could attend this kind of stuff together wearing our matching bowling shirts.
Right, of course.
That would just be a ton of fun. I had mine on. Chris did not. I felt a little betrayed that he was not wearing his bowling shirt.
It's kind of messed up, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I had a great day. I was able to knock off quite a few games off of my list, guys. I am down to 16 games left in order to complete my NES collection, which is awesome.
I think that's 2 more than when you texted me. I think you texted me that you had 18 left. Or maybe
I said 17, and then I realized I forgot to check one off my list off of my Game Eye app, which, we're not sponsored by Game Eye, but that app is awesome for keeping track of your game collection. So, down to 16. And like I said, the goal is by the end of the year. It's only it's only April, so it's possible. The issue now is funds, because I am tapped out. I spent pretty much every dollar I had. Actually had to dip into the savings a little bit for the last one that I had to get. So, well,
don't let the missus know.
I did.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, I've got another DJ gig coming up this weekend, and hopefully I'll get some more. I just got to figure out a way to earn some money.
What an insane life to live! You have to have an entire DJ business to fund your NES collection.
That's not even a joke, man. Like, after I finish this up, I'm selling the business. Like, after 25 years, I'm done. I'm really done with that. It's just too much of a responsibility. What I could do is I could just sell the business now, sell all the equipment to somebody, and that probably would be enough to finish off the last 16.
Well, there you go, man. You're at the finish line.
Yeah.
Maybe. Problem is I have to DJ a wedding in December for for a friend, so I can't sell it off until the end of the year. But
You don't need every friend.
well, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Anyway, that was really, really a lot of fun. If you guys ever get a chance, I highly recommend going to Midwest Gaming Classic. It is a lot of fun, but you're going to have another cool opportunity before next year's Midwest Gaming Classic because we can officially say that R2V2 is happening this October 14th. We mentioned it last week. I kind of teased who was going to be coming, but it couldn't, and we can now officially let you guys know who our special guests are going to be for R2V2. Sissy Jones is coming back. She actually asked to come back. She had such a good time last time, so that's going to be great.
Yay!
She's awesome. And also, the one that got Chris especially excited, and he set this one up, but our next guest is going to be Mr. Duke Nukem himself. John St. John is going to be in attendance in Rockford, Illinois. How cool is that?
Hail to the king, baby.
Yeah. Very stoked. I'm working on a couple other guests as well. Can't make any promises, but it's going to be awesome. We're going to have so many vendor tables. We're going to have a almost like a museum of video games, mostly from CB's collection. You'll be able to play some rare games that you otherwise couldn't. And we'll have some VR stations, some arcade stations. You can meet John and Sissy, get autographs, take some videos. They'll record voicemails for you if you want to. It's going to be an absolute blast. Also, for those that don't know, Sissy is on a Disney television show called The Owl House.
Hell yeah, dude, this show rocks.
I've actually been watching it as well. I finally got around to watching it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's genuinely funny. Like, I know it's for kids, but it's still... I'm laughing out loud on multiple occasions. It's great.
Oh, so, yeah, it's a straight-up good show.
Mm-hmm. Really digging that one. So, yeah, you should check that show out. Also, just as a reminder, we have our March game giveaway excuse me, yeah, it is March.
It'll be April, right?
It already is done. It's already done.
March
My
is
bad.
done.
Yeah, our March giveaway was Resident Evil 4, which somebody by the name of Smokey
Hell yeah.
won. I can't remember the last name now, but congratulations, Smokey, for winning that copy. I think you're mailing it tomorrow, Zach. So he'll be getting it in the mail. And our April one is the one that's available and good to go, and that is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. If you would like a chance to win a copy of that game, there is a link in the show notes. You will need to have listened to episodes of the Gaming Outsider podcast to be able to answer a question to be considered, because we don't want just random anybody's winning it. We want listeners to win it. So it's a pretty simple question. If you've listened to almost any episode, I feel like we talk about that question in there. So
I'm looking forward to calling off of work that day when that comes out.
Are you?
I'm going to be too sick to work.
I believe it. I believe it. I'm thinking May kind of has to be Breath of the Wild, or not Breath of the Wild, but Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
I don't see anything else really big coming out in May unless I just missed it. But,
right. Well, Suicide Squad went running scared after the debut.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. So I think it's just Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It won't be the collector's edition, just so you guys know. It'll be.
I don't think anybody was expecting it. I mean, the base game's already $70. You know.
I know.
For a Switch game.
But we'll talk about that more later. But games we've been catching up on. Let's start with Zach. Zach, you finished Resident Evil 4, yes?
I did, yeah. Review live on the site. It's a pretty darn good game. I think it's my favorite of this batch of remakes, for sure.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean, Resident Evil 2 was obviously impeccable. I loved Resident Evil 3, even though I know it got kind of a mixed reception. But
I thought you meant batch of remakes this year, as in like this and Dead Space and
Metroid.
And Metroid, yeah.
Oh, that might also be true. But I'm talking about in this, recent cavalcade of Resident Evil remakes. I think 4 reigns supreme. It's just so good.
Which is interesting because you like the shorter experiences, and this one is longer than the other two by far, isn't it?
What, like 12-ish hours or something?
Oh, that's it? I thought it was... I mean, you gotta remember, it took me like 4 hours to get through the first 4 chapters. So I played these games a lot slower than you do.
I think my final time was like 12 hours, 16 minutes or something, because it tells you at the end and gives you that Resident Evil grade that makes you feel bad about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't avoid it at the end then?
No, they flash it on the screen. I got a B, if anyone's curious. So I'm just an average...
I can't wait to see my score.
Loser is what I am.
I barely dabbled in this game this week, Zach. I am going to go through and finish this game, but for the first time in months, I've been able to sit down and not have a review looming over me, like a game that I was supposed to be reviewing. So I got to sit down and play this game just because I wanted to. And as soon as I fired it up, it was right when you have Ashley, and you have to protect Ashley. And you mentioned last week that you've got, or in your review, that you've got the 2 different follow modes that you can do for her. I learned how to do that.
Right.
I
don't feel like it really prevents her from getting grabbed either way.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
No. I know what I wanted to ask you guys, because this is going to sound strange, but in the original, back on the GameCube, I swear the zombies would say this phrase over and over again, and I assumed it was in a different language, and it was something for real in a different language. But when I was I'm not going to say a kid, but what was this, 2005?
Yeah.
When this game came out, so I was in my mid-20s. I swear that the zombies or the villagers in that game would go around and just, how they're chanting stuff. And it sounded like multiple of these villagers would say, "No cookies, no cookies, no cookies."
I don't remember that personally.
I don't know what they were saying, but in my early 20s, it sounded like "no cookies." And that's all I could hear for the rest of the entire game is these villagers going, "No cookies, no cookies." I want you to go back, Zach. You've got to save. You've got to save, like, fired up, right?
Right,
on GameCube. I want you this week to go, because I don't have it. I want you to go in there and, like, listen and tell me if it sounds like they're saying "no cookies, no cookies," or, like, actually tell me what they are saying. Because that was like a joke with my buddy when I was playing it as a kid. Is that, why are they keep talking about no cookies? Is this why they're angry? Leon brought cookies.
I'll be angry too.
Who could blame?
I have no idea, but I will get back into it. I was really frustrated, and I worry because you can't change the difficulty once you started, right? Because you had that issue. I would love to just drop this down to easy and just, like, enjoy the game.
What are you playing it on?
Normal, whatever normal is.
You can drop it down to assisted after you die.
She's right.
Oh,
you can. Yeah, but you can when you're a professional. I'll tell you what.
Okay, so I just got to die a bunch of times, and then it'll let me drop it down to.
Yeah, I think it says, like, at the bottom of the screen, press Y to change difficulty or something of that nature when you die.
Okay. Does it do the Don't Make Cry shameful thing where it's like, are you sure you don't want to play on easy?
This one does not. I know Resident Evil 2 Remake did that, where it made you feel like every single time you die, it's like, would you like to go down to easy? Like, no.
I always felt like Don't Make Cry was trying to shame me.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I refuse to play on easy.
3 was like,
3
are you sure you don't want to be on easy right now?
We've acknowledged you as a casual, so we're just going to go ahead and bump you down.
Dude, the game makes you feel bad for playing on casual. Did you see the little note that they give you when you for people that have never played Resident Evil 4 before?
Dude, I mean, it's such a joke in the Resident Evil subreddit that, like, Capcom must be trolling people with the professional difficulty, being like, it's for people who've played Resident Evil 4. No, it ain't. That's way harder than Resident Evil 4.
Right.
Significant. You got me, though. I'll tell you what, Capcom. Hardy har. April Fools.
Yeah. But
Alyssa, how far are you into this game?
I have just reached chapter 9. So
oh my goodness, you way past me.
Got past the halfway point.
Nice.
How are you liking Ashley this time around?
Well, since I never played it before,
okay. How are you
I don't really
Ashley?
have a prior experience with her. She doesn't get on my nerves too much. I did read your review because I had to lurk. I do agree with you though. Like, if she goes down, like, in a group of enemies, it's nearly impossible to try to get to her before
you may as well
she dies or you die, because enemies are constantly attacking while you're like, let me just slowly get you up here.
See, whereas in the original it was frustrating that you had to use your healing items on her, but at least if she was in that scenario, you could throw a first aid spray on her and buy yourself more time. But in the new system, she's just going to die if she's in a crowd.
Yeah, it's true.
Can we get some of that first aid spray, like, in real life? Wouldn't that be nice?
I know,
just to go, shh, I'm all better.
Especially whatever the hell Ethan Winters was using in Resident Evil Village.
I know, being
able to get his hand back on.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's a pro.
Remember in, like, the is it the Far Cry games where when you heal yourself, he, like, digs a bullet out of his arm with his stick?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like, that was pretty cool.
Freaking awesome. Yeah, man, this, you really do see Village was heavily inspired by Resident Evil 4 when you play the remake, though, I'll tell you.
Yeah, right. I was thinking that as well.
Especially like you down to the little fishing docks in
Mm-hmm.
Village and in 4. Yeah, it's pretty similar. Castles
By
in
the way,
both, of course.
Did you see that some streamer found out that you can defeat one of the really tough bosses in this game by using 2 golden eggs?
Oh yeah,
it's like an actual Easter egg, which is I thought was kind of wild and crazy. I saw him do it. I didn't mean to because it was on TikTok, and I'm, those are like
Right.
10 seconds long, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
The algorithm got you.
Unfortunately, I've already used my golden egg, or one of the golden. There's only 2 in the entire game.
Right. Well, one of them you have to use for a quest.
For a quest, yeah.
Yeah,
But if you forego that quest, you can basically 2-shot this boss with golden eggs. And apparently they give you clues about it. I'm obviously not that far. There's some documents you find that talks about how this villain that you're fighting like hates eggs, and like somebody just like decided to throw an egg at it and it worked.
Which I wonder what a boss it is.
I mean, I could describe what he looks like, but it just sounds like my description would just sound like, oh, you mean a Resident Evil boss? Oh, got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was one of the tougher bosses that tells you anything. But
I love the boss fights in this game. They're incredible.
I can tell you that it is a boss that has a throne room. Does that answer?
I think so. Yeah.
Like, I haven't gotten to that one yet. Then
because that's where one of the eggs is. There's a golden egg, like under his throne. Apparently, that's where the second one is. So, anyway,
cool.
Resident Evil 4. That's all I've had time to play outside of some pinball, but nobody wants to hear me talk about that anymore.
Well, they say the only thing I've been playing is Red Dead Redemption 2, but I can't imagine anybody wants to hear about that anymore.
Yeah,
it's getting very sad.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
because you know it. Because you know how it's going to end, right?
Well, they tell you how it's going to end. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just characters are resigning themselves to their fates. It's quite sad. Right. There's a line, "We're more ghosts than people." That really hit me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Just love the flip flop on that game, but anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. Okay, so news is a little weird this week because yesterday, as of this recording, was April Fool's Day, so it's really difficult to find accurate news stories. But I do have some trailers to talk about. There's a game called Alyssa, which is a 4-player cooperative game in the Lovecraft universe, coming to Steam on April 20th. Obviously, Tears of the Kingdom got a new gameplay trailer for its May 12th release. We got to see what that looks like. Live Alive, which Zack talked about a couple months ago, is coming to PlayStation and Steam on April 27th. I don't know why we're not getting any love for Xbox on that one, but hey. I guess this is their way they don't get their exclusives.
Was Crisis Core the last one they put on Xbox from Square Enix?
I believe so, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Starting to look a little suspicious.
Right?
Starting to look prime for acquisitions over here.
Like I said in my New Year's thing prediction.
Mm-hmm. Vampire Survivors got a new trailer for DLC called Tides of the Foscari. That's only going to be $2. I'm going to be getting that, guys. I mean, it's just
for sure.
No-brainer.
As soon as I saw it, I'm like, Scott's getting it.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
There's a game called A Night in the Attic. That is a VR game coming out on the 13th. It looks super clever. You got to check out this trailer, guys. It looks really cool. And that's it for trailers. But in terms of news, The Last of Us's PC release has got a lot of issues. The murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is not an April Fool's joke, even though we all kind of assumed it was at first. And the Microsoft has ended its $1 Game Pass introductory deal this past week. Alyssa, why don't you kick things off, and which story would you like to talk about?
Actually, I want to talk about the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog being an actual game, because I thought, I went to Steam and got it because it was free, but I'm like, this is going to disappear after yesterday. I didn't get a chance to play it. Mm-hmm. It's still there. It's real.
Kevin played it. Kevin, the biggest Sonic fan we know, he thought it was fake as well, and he said, no, it's a legit game. You can play it. and it's still there. Like you said, it's still there. So,
but I did notice on the store page, it does say it's made by Team Sonic, but then it comes out and it's not made by Team Sonic.
That's what I have read, is that it's not actually made by them. All the headlines are saying Sega is trolling everybody. And I don't think this is. I don't get the impression this is made by Sega. Do you have it
Yeah.
up to see who the developer actually? Does it actually say that as the developer?
It did yesterday, but I
Mhm.
don't know if they've changed it since.
Well, I mean, the Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account tweeted it out, right? So, I mean, it's certainly Sega approved.
Oh, it's Sega approved. Okay, that's fair then. I did not see the tweet, but I think it's funny. Like, when you think of Sonic game, you don't think of text adventure,
Definitely not.
murder mysteries.
Not
which,
since Sonic Chronicles of the Dark Brotherhood have
Right.
we seen a text-heavy Sonic game.
I didn't even know that existed. So that's all.
It's developed
I
by
didn't
BioWare.
either.
It's a DS Sonic RPG developed by BioWare.
No way. Seriously?
Okay,
You
that
guys
sounds
really don't know
awesome.
about this?
No.
No.
Dude, there are even, like, I think you could have optional, romance options. Sonic can date Amy or somebody else. Yeah, this is a real game.
That's insane to me. I had no idea. Anyway, this one revolves around Amy, who has thrown a murder mystery party. Sonic apparently agrees to be the victim and winds up actually being murdered. And so it's a text-driven dialogue game, and you have to kind of solve the murder of who killed Sonic. I would love to hear how you like this game, Alyssa. Is it on Steam Deck? Can I play it on Steam Deck?
I don't know if it's Steam Deck compatible or not. I do need to check that out because I do want to play it. So.
I think that the article I read said that it is on Mac, so I could actually play it that way as well too.
Okay.
And I can imagine that's my Mac would be fine running that game. I would assume, but
I mean, I would think so.
That's a pretty. It's got to be like like what, a 2-hour game. It can't be like a really long game.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine it being very long.
I would love if it had a Doki Doki style twist to it, or just gets M-rated out of nowhere.
Oh, that'd be great. That would be great. I love how like in the trailer they have the Sonic like collapse dead. It totally looks like Peter Griffin and his like I'm passed out thing that they do in the Family Guy. You know what I'm talking about? Like, go look up that image and compare it to the image of dead Sonic, and it's like clearly like making a nod to Family Guy, in my opinion.
I can tell you who didn't kill Sonic. It's Shadow. He always gets a bad rap. It's not cool, and we all know why. It's because of the dark fur. People don't.
You're saying it is Shadow?
No, he had nothing to do with it. He's just always getting harassed by people.
Ah,
He's just
It's
going to
not
be
fair.
the first person blamed for it.
Exactly.
ah.
Of course, everybody blames
the
the
red
black
herring.
hedgehog.
I'm just gonna go on a limb and say it's probably Mario, because I mean that makes sense.
You think
Superior
he's gotta be-
games.
Well, they hang out. They hang out. They're buzzing out. They hang out at the Olympics and stuff.
yeah, they're still competing.
And obviously, Eggman can't do it because he's probably secretly in love with Sonic.
It's probably
That's
Amy.
what it's been about.
He's jealous. I think it is Amy. They had a night that got a little too rough. Before she knew it, Sonic was dead.
We should all play it before next week, so we can would do a spoiler cast on who
Murder
murdered
Sonic.
Sonic. That'd be
play
great.
it.
Anyway, Zach, what about you?
I
What do
bet
you want
it's
to
that
talk about?
Princess, the one that made out with him and brought him back to life, and then he abandoned her forever, and then now she's sick of him, so she came back and killed him.
I have no idea who you're talking. What you're talking? Is that a Sonic thing?
Yeah, it's Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, the 360 game that's quite terrible. Sonic dies in that game, and then a human princess kisses him to bring him back to life
Yeah,
because they're flirting the entire game. You got to play more Sonic.
Remember, I just got introduced to the series like this summer.
I'm about to give you a rundown.
Yeah,
How long does this episode run?
not that long.
I got 4 hours to kill. Well, I need to talk about, with you especially, Scott, this Tears of the Kingdom debut.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Because now, at the top, I have to assume that they're just not showing a lot of stuff.
I hope so.
I hope so,
man.
because so far it looks like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which is a great game. Don't get me wrong, but it's just weird. They added Banjo-Kazooie as DLC to Zelda is what it looks like. My thought is, this is your big debut. Why the hell would you show this stuff?
Because this is what's popular for this franchise now, is just all the crap that you can do in the open world.
I think on TikTok, sure, but amongst Zelda fans, I'm not seeing a lot of excitement online.
Maybe I'm not even really seeing one way or the other. I feel like not a lot of people are talking about it. Like, I feel like outside of those, outside that, right? I mean, it's going to sell just fine,
Yeah.
man. This game is going to.
Of course.
Don't get me wrong. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what they show. It won't affect the sales one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to buy it. Doesn't matter.
But I mean,
It's-
the reasons that you and I play a Zelda game are because of the dungeons, because of, the weapons that you need to acquire in order to pass certain bosses or to traverse to new areas. You know what I mean? And all we got are things that I skipped in Breath of the Wild, like, the house building thing or whatever that some people loved.
Oh yeah. See, I did like all that stuff. It's just I already did all that stuff.
Right.
I don't need to put meat on a stick. Personally.
I mean, that was one of the annoying things about Zelda to me was, the weapon degradation and everything like that. And now I have to actually manage it every time I come up to an encounter. I've got to figure out what I'm going to stick together. Like, just give me. Don't I have the Master Sword left over from last time? Can't I just?
I'm sure that you do not.
Right.
They have to make you earn it again.
Yeah.
Probably.
You can earn it sooner.
Well, you could earn it really soon if you knew where to go.
Well, you had to have a certain number of hearts in order to get it.
No, that's right. You're right.
Unless
You
you,
could
use
find
one
it.
of the. You could find it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I miss Zelda games being about the dungeons, and I don't mean these short little, cute little shrine puzzles. Which, granted, they're good.
Yeah, I had fun with them for sure. Well, it's funny because we've only been. I guess it'll only be 2 Zeldas removed from the dungeon structure.
Right.
But it just feels so much longer.
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess it would be. What was the last one? Would it be Link Between Worlds?
Link Between Worlds, I think.
Like 2014. So I guess it has been like 10 years without Dungeons and Zelda.
Yeah. Unless
That
you
is
count like Skyward Sword getting a remake.
I sure don't. My game is no good.
I couldn't make it past the first boss, so yeah.
The dungeons
I keep-
are good. Some of them. That game's not though. Anyway,
No, it's not.
I just had to. It just feels weird not being excited about a Zelda game. Of course, I'll buy it. It's got Zelda right there in the box. What am I gonna do?
I've got it pre-ordered. I
Yeah.
actually was able to get a pre-order in before they raised the price to $70. So
Oh, nice.
Save
That was,
yourself 10 buckaroos.
yeah, I did. I was able to save $10. So and guys, I'm weak.
The collector's edition.
I did.
I can't
did.
wait for you to not open it.
It's not going to be opened. You laugh all you want, man. The one I've got sealed over here, Breath of the Wild, is now like multiplied in value by tenfold.
Are you gonna sell it?
Maybe someday.
No.
Maybe someday. I also got the Pro controller and I got the branded case because I'm a sucker.
I think you also have a 3DS that it's just in a box.
And a Wii U. Yeah.
Amazing.
Actually, in a 2DS. I got a Zelda branded 2DS as well.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Those things, they're like the pizza wedge looking ones.
Pizza wedge. It was still square.
But where it didn't, does it fold over or no?
No,
No,
it's just like
Yeah.
it's almost like a tablet.
It looks like a door stopper.
Yeah. But
I hated those
I got,
things.
I got a bunch of stuff unopened, man. A bunch of games unopened too.
Or GameStop when those stupid things came out. I advise everybody not to buy it
Did they heed your warning?
almost every time. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Well, it's pretty. If you're buying it for your kid, as soon as you're like, well, the screens are going to get scratched to hell because you can't close the shell like you can
yeah.
other DSs.
Sold. Give
Yeah.
me the other one.
Yep. And it's only like it was a minimal difference, really.
Oh, dude, I have students that bring their tablets to school sometimes, like because their parents want me to help them get logged in so they can do their work on their tablet. You would not believe just the gross, scratched up screens that these are. It's just
I would.
insane to me.
I worked at a brunch restaurant. Those tablets would come in there because
Oh.
because parents just give them to their kid to ignore them
Oh,
all
yeah.
morning.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've
that was
had
just
young relatives be like, "Hey, play Candy Crush for me, Alyssa," and the screen's just, ugh. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to even touch. I don't want to touch
No.
it, but I'm going to make you happy.
Oh my god, I couldn't do it. No, get out of here, kid.
That's
You're
awfully
dead to me.
sticky. Yeah. Gross.
Why is there syrup on this?
I can't make a child cry. Okay, I have to do it.
Are you licking the screen with Cheetos in your mouth? Like, what
I think-
is going on?
Probably are. Yes.
It looks like candy. It's Candy Crush. Ugh, it grosses me out. Anyway, I want to talk about this Last of Us thing, because boy, what a debacle this has been, and I did not expect this to happen. So here's the story. The game was supposed to. It's the port for the PC version was supposed to release on March 3rd. They pushed it back to March 28th. There's speculation as to if this was because, the show was being so successful and they wanted it to coincide with the end of that show. But Naughty Dog also said they wanted it to be in the, quote, best shape possible. Well, that wasn't the case.
That was a lie.
Yeah, no.
Since the game release, players have reported constant crashes, frame rate issues, levitating NPCs, crazy-looking characters, apparently weird eyebrows on Joel. Kevin, our producer, showed me a video where Ellie looked like one of those wavy tube men. You know what I'm talking about? Those advertiser things?
Yeah, of course.
But it was while she was riding on the back of Joel's horse. And it was like if you took a wavy tube man and froze it in place and then leaned it backwards. That's what Ellie looked like on the back of Joel's horse. If you guys can find that video, it's utterly hilarious. But Kevin also said that the game required some download where it said it was compiling the shaders. And he said it took overnight to get that to install, and it still wouldn't work correctly. Naughty Dog has since apologized for the issues and have promised a fix by Tuesday. So, if you're listening to this episode on the normal podcast feed yesterday, this should be a fix. We have no idea if it's worked, but I don't know. My initial reaction whenever I hear a story like this is, haha, hashtag PC Master Race. You know what I mean? Just because.
Oh, you're so old.
No, but you know what I mean? Like that's my initial reaction. But the more I thought about it, this makes me so angry because people who are watching Last of Us that never played the game or don't play games at all are like, why didn't you guys tell us that there were great stories like these in video games? And I'm like, we have been. You know what I mean? You just didn't listen.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're listening now. Oh, we're going to go play this game. And then this happens. You know what I mean? Like, you're finally bringing in a potential audience of non-gamers and making them gamers because we've made them realize that there are awesome stories in games, and you botched the PC launch. Granted, how many people have a PC that could play it? I don't know.
I think the casual audience you're talking about is not the one who's going to figure out how to make a PC gaming rig work.
Maybe.
But, I mean, well, yeah, I guess the idea that they were delaying it so that way they could wait for the show to wrap up never made sense to me, because why wouldn't you want to do it while the hype was high?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But now we know that the answer was because they didn't want to ruin their hype by putting out this broken version of the game.
You think that would have hurt the show if they released it while the show was going on?
It would have hurt like the dialogue around The Last of Us. While people were looking into it, but now people are so fickle. The show is over; it's old news. So now you can throw this out there, and fewer people are going to care because that's just how the world works. I mean, it is like it feels like every PC port is busted these days, but I guess people keep buying them. People keep pre-ordering digital games and buying games minute one. I mean, what do they expect if? Every time a broken game comes out and everybody just buys it anyway, what is the incentive of the publishers to wait for the game to be fixed?
Well, I mean, now with Steam, you've got that like 2 hour window, right? Where like as long as you don't play it under 2 hours,
right?
Yeah,
and do it in the first week, you can get a full refund.
Yeah,
right?
which is a definite good step. But I don't know. What message are we sending publishers by continually buying broken stuff anyway?
Or like you said, pre-ordering. Like,
yeah, I've never been able to wrap my head around pre-ordering digital stuff. It's not like they're going to run out.
No, it's not like they're going to run out, but it's nice to have it pre-installed.
Yeah, but you could even do that the day before. You don't have to do it 6 months ahead of time.
Right. Yeah, I think it's more for the publisher's benefit than anything else.
You don't need a black wizard robe that you can only get by digitally pre-ordering.
It's funny you mention that because like we played the Diablo 4 beta, and if you reach like level 20, you get something.
Mm-hmm.
When the game actually releases, it's just like a companion, like a little puppy or something. And I was like, at first I was mad at myself. Like I didn't have time to get my character to level 20. I got to like 12. Like, and I'm like, why am I upset about that? Who cares? I'm not going to care about that 3 hours into the game. Like,
no, you're probably going to replace the puppy with something cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we all trick ourselves into like we need all this content. But then what happens when you beat the game anyway? You're never going to think about that puppy again.
Yeah, exactly. That brings me up another point. Like the tiers of pre-ordering games now has gotten ridiculous. Did you see?
You need an Excel spreadsheet for every game now.
What's that? Oh yeah, right. Like there's 3 different tiers for Diablo 4. The base game, which is $70, and then there's like 2 other ones, and the top one being $100. And I feel like what you get for $100 is not worth it. Like it's just it's stuff that you're not going to use after 6 hours of game. And if you're going to put 100 or 200 hours into this game, I think what you're really paying for is getting the game like the 4 days earlier or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're getting 4 days of punishment by buying it at regular price.
Right. Which is their way of getting that to that higher price point without actually increasing the price, right?
Right. But do you think is 4 days early access really worth $30 to people?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it is to those that pay for it, right? That's kind of what they're going for.
What an insane thing to do.
Yeah. I have no problem waiting 4 days. I think I'm going to be gone when it releases anyway. Or no, not the day, because it comes out on the 6th, right? And school gets out like...
Oh, I don't know.
But I'm going to be out of the country for a week after that, so that's going to suck. Bring my Xbox on the ship with me.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Not make my friends happy, but...
Well,
anyway.
Again, you don't need every friend.
That's true. But then I got to play online. I won't be able to play online with people, so that's kind of the point. So I'm going to get back, and everybody's going to be like a level 90, whatever, and I'm going to be like, can I play with my 4? Anyway, Last of Us. What a disaster. Hopefully that whatever patch on Tuesday is... one of the quotes I read was that when the game works, it's perfect. But when it crashes 150 times in a row.
Yeah. Well, say when anything works, it's perfect.
No, but I mean, like he's saying in terms of, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is the week's news. I'm glad you brought up Tears of the Kingdom because
I want to be excited.
It pains me. I want to be excited too.
I mean, you could even just show me what's going on with Zelda. Show me what's happening with the story. If you don't have dungeons, show me what else is cool. But me building a raft is not that cool.
No.
Not for me.
I mean, and you're like, how much of that are you going to have to do in the game, and how much of it are you able to do?
Well, it was funny because in the video where they built the raft, he's like, I could have swam across that in a third of the time it just took you to build that raft.
Right.
What was the point of that?
Well, and remember the first time we saw that vehicle in the first trailer?
Yeah.
So that vehicle, it was like this huge monstrosity of a thing. Like, clearly that was something that was built, right?
Right.
And I don't want to drive that as Link. Like, I have no desire. I didn't want to get the motorcycle in the Breath of the Wild DLC. Like, that just was ridiculous to me. Like, it just feels like you're, I don't know, taking away about what makes Zelda cool.
Yeah, it ruins the fantasy.
Yeah. I'm bring a motorcycle. Whatever.
Want to ride a Pona.
Crazy. Anyway, want to remind everybody, we are an independently funded podcast, which means we do pay for our podcast hosting services, website, all of that on our own. That's actually not true. We pay for it by our Patreon subscribers, people that donate to the show to help us keep the lights on over here at the Gaming Outsider, and we would love your help if you would be willing to pitch in. We've got some new content coming your way for our subscribers at the $3 tier. We're going to be releasing this week an episode. We haven't decided what we're going to call them yet, but Alyssa, Zack, and I are going to sit down and talk about whatever. We spend so much time at the beginning of each episode, at the end of each episode, just having fun conversations that don't necessarily have something to do with video games, just random ramblings. And we decided, we're going to start recording that. So we're going to be putting together an episode this week for our Patreon subscribers just to get to know us a little bit better. Don't worry, we will have more video game content coming in the future as well. We've got the trade-off episode I'm doing with Kevin, where he's playing Robotrek, and I'm going to finally be able to play Grandia 2 because I've got some time now that I've caught up on reviews. And we got some other fun things planned as well. Don't we have a Desert Island Games episode planned Zack, with Mr. Sean Coates coming up
That's
here
correct. Yeah.
in another week. So we'll have 2 episodes this month for sure. So stay tuned for that. But if you are at all interested in helping us out at the Gaming Outsider, the website is patreon.com/thegocast. We would appreciate the support. And thank you so much to everybody that contributes. It really is helpful. Again, we don't keep a dime for ourselves. Every penny that we earn goes towards paying for the show, paying for games that we review, and then turn around and give away to the community. And anything above and beyond that goes towards R2V2 2023, which again will be on October 14th. Again, help us out at patreon.com/thegocast. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the new games that we have been playing. Zach, it's looking a little light this week, which is not a bad thing for me because I can play catch up. What do we got coming on the horizon for new games?
If you're into old man sports, EA Sports PGA Tour comes with PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC April 7th. Stealth platformer The Library of Babel comes with PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC April 7th. You can fight Cthulhu as Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes The Awakened on PS5, PS4.
What?
Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC April 11th. That's somebody who's taking advantage of public domain. Right?
Yeah.
The Tron game that I don't think anybody really wanted, right? Visual novel Tron game, Tron Identity, coming to Switch and PC April 11th. Ghostwire Tokyo, an Xbox exclusive, finally comes off of PlayStation and onto Xbox April 12th. And Rusted Moss makes its way to PC April 12th. It is a gear gated game, looks pretty good. And then King of the Arcade, which is like a minigame compilation, but also Fight for the Rec Center simulator, coming Xbox Series consoles and Xbox One April 12th.
Dude, that game, look, I do not like the art style in that game at all.
No, but all those minigames are crazy.
Like every genre of video game, I feel like is given homage at some point.
Right. Yeah, but then the actual like character models look goofy.
They're like clay models with square faces. It's just I can't do it.
Yeah. What, Alyssa? Are any of these games calling out to you?
I actually am intrigued by the Tron game because
take it back.
I mean, I like visual novels, but this is also by Mike Bithell, and the visual novel aspects remind me of Subsurface Circular and Quarantine Circular, I believe. That he,
right, but even in those circular games, characters did like move and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, these just feel like. I mean, I don't know. I love the circular games quite a bit.
Yeah,
I'm with you there.
I'm more intrigued because it's Mike Bithell. I feel like if it weren't Mike Bithell, I probably would be skipping it.
Yeah,
I might skip
same
it
here.
anyway, but
I'm also a Tron fan as well. But.
I love Tron.
I
Just want to go back and watch those movies.
I don't think I've ever met anybody who didn't love Tron.
Really?
Yeah. Or at least maybe it's popular amongst our generation, Alyssa. I don't know.
Even the old one, man. I mean, I know it looks dated now. It's still cool.
Yeah, it's still so good.
There's something about Tron that just appeals to nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
True story.
What about you, Scott? Anything exciting for you?
Library of Babel looks really interesting. I know you described it as a stealth game.
That's what they like, a stealth action platformer, I think is how they described it.
It was.
But it also looks like it has like point and click adventure elements in it.
Yeah.
You know, where like you're combining objects, and I've never seen those two elements together. Like if it's a point and click adventure, there's no action or platforming. And it seems like they've somehow melded those together. I thought that was and the animations just look really cool. Rusted Moss had me intrigued a little bit. It's only PC. It reminded me of Bionic Commando.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? Where you've got like a grappling hook and a gun. But I'm intrigued what's going on in that story because that's like a girl with like a floating eyeball as a companion.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of think I might wait to hear what people say about that one, but I got plenty of games to play anyway. But yeah, those are the ones that interested me.
Yeah, I wish Mike Bithell is the only reason I'm intrigued by Tron Identity. It's just he's made so many kinds of games before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. Tron is, when I think of Tron, I don't think about all the talky bits.
Right. You think of light cycles and throwing
Right.
discs.
Data discs, yeah.
Yep.
Cool cool visual set pieces, I guess. Yeah.
Didn't he do the Jonah Hex
John Wick
game as well? John Wick game?
Hex.
John Wick.
Yeah,
John Wick
Jonah,
Hex.
Jonah Hex, cool. Don't get me wrong. DC
Getting-
Cowboy.
Getting my properties mixed up. My bad.
Yeah, he did do John Wick Hex, the John Wick game that didn't have Keanu Reeves.
Just so weird.
Yeah, that doesn't feel right.
Must have been devastating for Mike Bithell to hear that Keanu Reeves was in Cyberpunk but wouldn't be in his game about John Wick.
Oh,
That's pretty
Yeah,
brutal.
That probably hurt.
yeah.
That probably stung a little. But
Yeah.
Ian McShane and Lance Reddick, they're there. Anyway, yeah, I think Tron Identity. It's
Okay.
intriguing. But speaking of, well, Scott, was this your 17th Gear Gated game of the year? Curse of the Sea Rats on Switch?
Oh, dude, I'm so into Gear Gated game. I tell you I borrowed a copy of Metroid Other M, so I'm going to be going right into another one. But yes,
Well, I can't wait for you to sit through those 15-minute cutscenes of Samus being sad.
hey, I'll take it.
It's a mood.
I thought the gameplay in that game was great, but we're here to talk about Curse of the Sea Rats.
Mm-hmm.
Which, how is it? I mean, you're a pirate? You're a pirate rat?
You're both, actually. Which this story in Curse of the Sea Rats is totally like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of situation, which is perfect because that's exactly what the art style is. It's all hand-drawn animations, which I know doesn't sound like a lot. It's like you're looking at a cartoon from when we were kids. Like the animation, the movement, and everything feels like you were actually controlling a cartoon. It's great.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it sticks through the whole thing. I'm not going to call it the 1.5 or 2.5D, I don't think, because there's not like a whole lot in the background as much. But they'll do things where I don't know how to describe this correctly. Hopefully I make it make sense. Where when you jump, the platforms that you're on almost have depth to them. Like you can see like the front of it come up or down.
That's
Okay.
cool.
You know what I mean? To give it like that sense of depth. I really think that's cool. But anyway, the story here is that you are 4 different pirates that are actually being transported to prison or whatever. And along the way, the ship wrecks, and you were somehow cursed and turned into rats.
Oh, okay.
And everybody, the entire crew, and you. And there's like an evil pirate that kidnaps the captain's son, and the captain offers you your freedom if you retrieve his son for him. So you go off.
Is the son a rat as well?
Yes,
Okay.
his name is Timothy, and he's an adorable little rat.
Oh,
Yeah, everybody's a rat. Every villain is rat related.
Okay.
It's the press release describes this as not a Metroidvania, not a gear gated game, but a Ratoidvania.
Oh boy, they had to stretch for that one.
I'm not making it up. That's actually in the press release, but I could not bring myself to use that word in the review. So, I just thought the story was kind of fun. Like it just feels like a Saturday morning cartoon, and I was there for it. But it is very gear gated, but not in the Metroid way where you're constantly getting power ups that access new areas. If memory serves me correctly, I only had 2 different abilities. One being a double jump, and one being more or less a super jump. If you remember, like from Super Mario Brothers 2, if you played as any of those characters, you could hold down until they flash, and then he jumps a lot higher. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
Imagine that, but without the flashing. That's what you get with this game. Most of the gear gated element of it is finding a key that opens up this specific door,
Oh, okay.
which is it's not as fun,
No.
as like the power ups, but it's still a satisfying game. And the interesting thing with this is that you have 4 different characters to choose from, and that number one offers co-op opportunities. I don't know if I've ever played a 2D gear gated game with somebody. I could not think of a game that did that. Could you?
All right, certainly not off the top of my head.
yeah.
I
Me
mean,
neither.
I can't speak to it because I could not find somebody to play with it. It doesn't have online capabilities. It's only couch co-op.
Well, see, you had all those friends and they don't pay off, huh?
There you go. Someone was supposed to come over and then canceled at the last minute, so I didn't get to see it. But when you play it in single player, you choose one of the rats, and you can actually swap between them at save points, or what this game's version of a campfire in a Dark Souls game, because it has that element too where you lose all your resources if you die, but if you get back to that spot, you get them back. I don't know.
Okay.
What do we call that anomaly or that thing in video games?
You're right. We got to come up with a term.
Right. I mean, you're the expert at coming up with terms for things that have existed in games for a while, right?
Right. Well, yeah. I'm trying to find a replacement for Souls-like, because that is also lazy and useless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll workshop it. I'll get back to you.
Okay. What's interesting is that, like I said, you can switch between these characters at campfires, and that's also where you spend your currency in order to level up each character's skill tree. Which the skill trees here, most of the things that you can upgrade are like add 20 points to your health, or add this percentage to your critical hit chance, or whatever. But then each character has their own individual abilities that they earn as well. Because you have like a special ability. I'm not going to call it a mana meter, but think of it like in like Ninja Gaiden. How you had those like little flames that would let you use an ability that number of times.
Yeah.
It works like that, and they kind of fill up naturally over time.
What a timely reference.
Why is that timely?
It's not.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just very...
But you knew what I was talking about, right?
No, yeah, of course I did. It's a very old game, that's all.
They called Ninpos? Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't have a clue. No way. Where the cutscenes are really cool.
Yeah. I actually bought the remastered version of it, and I got about an hour or two into it. I'm like, man, this is hard. That game is real tough. But anyway, the weird thing about this is that the game is very, very difficult at the beginning when you're fighting bosses. Like the bosses it seems like their health meter goes down very slowly. You have to use a parry that is in the game, and you really have to use these special abilities just to survive. But as you level up, number one, I stopped using any special abilities once I got a character to a specific level. It just became unnecessary because I did what I do in most video games, and I focused on my one character. I pulled a Zack and played one of the female characters because I just thought she was the coolest looking one.
Okay.
And I maxed her out. I was at like 50% of the map when I maxed her out, and I'm like, well, what do I do now? I'm not using any of the other characters. So what I wound up doing was every time I got to a campfire, I would switch out to one of the other characters, spend all my points into that character's skill tree, and then switch back to my main. Because like, why would I go back and play with a character that's now at a lower level than my character that I'm already familiar with?
Right, and the game's not doing anything to incentivize you to swap.
Correct. And I mean, the only incentive you really have is that I will say the characters are very, very unique in terms of like the voice acting, which by the way is stellar in this game. In terms of the way that they attack, their basic movement is the same, but one of the characters doesn't even have a weapon. He's just like a bruiser, so he uses his fists. One is very, very agile. One is like your Mario. You know what I mean? Like that just kind of is well-rounded, so to speak.
They're the Ninja Turtles.
Sure. But yeah, the only reason I did that is because I was like for sure that I reached the end game and I was going to regret not having leveled up these characters because I was going to have to swap between them for boss fights or something. You know what I mean? That never happened. Got to the end of the game, beat most of the game with this one character, but after that halfway point when you max out that one main character, or if you decide to, just grind out all 4 character skill trees, the game honestly becomes kind of a joke to play. I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way. I mean in terms of difficulty. Like boss fights were not even there. There were some super clever uses of these boss fights, and they were wasted on me because all I did was just run up to them and just hit them until they were dead.
Isn't that kind of a bad thing, though?
I would say yes. It is kind of a negative, but I don't know if somebody else would have the same experience because I was very meticulous about how I managed my currency. And someone like you or me or Alyssa would play that game that way. I feel like this could be a gateway, gear-gated game because but it also starts out so difficult that I feel like anybody that's not used to this type of game is going to feel turned off by the difficulty. You know, how do you convince someone, oh, keep playing, it's going to get easier? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get
So-
what you mean, yeah.
So it's a little disjointed there, but I still loved it. I really enjoyed it. I love the story. There was the rewarding cutscenes that we talk about, you know, where which again, I don't feel like I see those in these types of games. You know, you'll just hit a certain point on the map, and all of a sudden it'll fade to black, and it'll say "meanwhile," and then you get a fun cutscene.
Oh yeah, that's pretty neat.
I mean, they're all done kind of like in still, like the comic book style, where it's just like, you know, it's a still shot of it, but the camera pans over them, and then it's all voice acted, which is it's really fun. I enjoyed it. The game sets up a sequel, and I think that I really want to play that whatever comes next from this studio, because
Do they all get turned into frogs at the end?
I'm not going to tell you, but it's actually a really clever ending. I thought it was a pretty clever ending. I can tell you off air if you're not planning to finish it, but I don't want to ruin it for other people. Really enjoyed it. The game comes out on the 6th. I played it on Switch, but it is coming everywhere. I liked it enough. I may consider picking it up on Xbox just to go through and get the achievements, because I think it would be pretty easy achievements too.
Oh, okay.
Plus,
Okay.
then I could get CB to play something too.
High praise.
Yeah.
Well, he'll be
Really?
in an afternoon.
Oh, that reminds me. It took me about 10 hours to beat this game.
Okay.
10, which is weird because you know me, it takes me longer to play these games, and this one was supposed to be 12 hours game, and I beat it on 2 hours under that, which is weird for me.
You're a gear gated god.
Apparently,
That's true.
it's definitely the year of Metroid for me. More reasons
Yeah.
than one.
Yeah, whether the franchise or outside of it, it is the year of Metroid.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm here for it. Definitely here for it. Yeah, if I get through Other M, I think that will be the only Metroid game. Well, wait, does that Federation game count? I feel like that doesn't count.
No way.
Samus wasn't even in that game. And was it just a multiplayer, like arena shooter type thing?
Like, does Triforce Heroes count as a Zelda game?
I didn't finish it, so I'll say no.
Yeah. Okay.
I own it. I should go back and. I don't have a 3DS though,
I
man.
don't think there's any reason to play that.
No, I didn't hear very good things about that game, but yeah, Curse of the Sea Rats. Really enjoying it. Just know that it's a little disjointed. It's not perfect, but it's quite enjoyable. It's worth it just to check out, just to see the animation and the voice acting. Oh, and the music. I didn't mention the music. You know how when you play games like that, the music gets really repetitive. You know, it just kind of loops over and over again. Sometimes it's almost too high energy or epic sounding. Everything here just felt very soothing, relaxing, ambient, maybe the good word to describe it. And then the high energy comes in the boss fights, but it doesn't push the envelope or anything. It's high energy in a satisfying kind of way. So there you go. Curse of the Sea Rats. Alyssa,
Mhm.
you have been playing a game called The Game of Fortune, which when I saw this trailer, I immediately thought of you and said, "This is an Alyssa game." I'm gonna be direct though, Alyssa. I looked at this trailer. I have absolutely no clue what is going on. There's a woman sitting on a throne. It looks like a dating simulator almost.
It's not.
Okay. Or she's doing some kind of tasks for all these people, and it's text based. Please explain this, because I could not understand from the trailer what was going on here.
Okay, so this is a visual novel, but it's basically like, Squid Game.
Yeah.
This is a death game. So you're these characters, and you don't have control over the characters, but you're going through the story, and you start out as a guy named Clyde, and his mom has a terminal illness, and he had to scour the dark web trying to find medicine to help her, and he found this place called the Ditches of Eden. So he takes his best friend Devin, who's a girl, with him, and they go to like the middle of nowhere, because that's where this facility is supposed to be, and there's no facility. There are groups of other people, and they're told they have to go through a portal into another world. They get there, you see the woman that you were talking about sitting on the throne. She is a deity, the fourth deity, which the title of this game is spelled incredibly unique. Like, it's not spelled like regular fortune. It's Four. Like,
Right.
the 4 plays a
4.
lot into this game, that number. And this woman's the 4th deity, and she sets up these death games for people, and only one person can come out alive, and that person gets whatever they wish. So, some of these people knew what was going on beforehand, but, like, Clyde and Devin did not know that this was going to be a death game situation. They got roped in just unwillingly, didn't know about it, and it's really just you're learning about what motivates each of these characters. There are 16 different characters. I've only controlled 2 so far. I don't know if you control any more, or you don't really control them. You see through their viewpoint. But it's interesting to learn the stories of these characters, why they're there, if they have prior knowledge. And it's interesting so far. I've gone through 2 different death games, and people do die. You don't see anything graphic.
Lame.
But they do describe it, like, in the text. It's just not shown on screen.
Right.
So, I mean, the text really does kind of, intensify things. It's written really well, besides the fact that there are a lot of typos. I will say that. That's something I pick up on a lot in visual novels if it's written that way, and that's just a little thing. Probably won't bother a lot of people, but I notice it.
Well, It's not like they're going to have a typo as bad as I'd love to shake Bush with Jeff Kanata.
Oh, man, you're calling me out.
I saw that tweet and I laughed, but I didn't say anything because I'm like, I don't want to embarrass Scott. And then...
I didn't notice it until he responded. Like, one of you guys could have like given me a heads up. Okay, so for content,
I don't have notifications for your tweets, man.
I don't either.
Why?
I just saw it on there. I'm like, it's okay.
Please add alerts to my tweets, because this is why we have you as an editor, Zach. And that was my response. I was like, this is why we have an editor. I need you to, like, because Christina used to do this for me back in the day when I would post something dumb, like shake Bush with Jeff Kanata, and she'd be like, Scott, you got a typo. She would take a screenshot of it, send it to me, and say typo.
I can
like,
start
thank
doing
you.
that.
Please do that.
Okay.
So for context, for everybody that does not understand what I tweeted out, we were we were talking about E3 getting canceled, which we're going to talk about shortly.
Yeah.
And I said, man, the worst part about this is that it diminishes my chances of shaking hands with Jeff
Bush.
Kanata. And I somehow typoed to say shaking Bush with Jeff Kanata, and I didn't realize it until Jeff Kanata responded.
He's like, we'll find another way to meet up and shake Bush?
Shake Bush?
Oh, man. That's
totally
brutal.
embarrassed myself. I probably deserved it for embarrassing Zach by saying, Gear Gated 2D Adventure.
Oh, yeah, by throwing me under the bus, it's Kanata.
Yeah. I really didn't intend to, but...
oh, man.
Anyway.
That's amazing.
My
anyway,
question...
back to the game about fours, which, by the way, there's 16 characters. Scott, I don't know if you know multiplication. That's 4 times 4.
It
is. And this is our 444th episode.
This ties in very well.
That's creepy. I don't like that.
I know we don't number our episodes anymore, but that's kind of
I didn't even realize
fortuitous. Come on, that was good.
I would tell you what, fortune is on our side.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, fortunately, I do have another question for you, Alyssa.
Okay.
I'm laughing at my own joke. I'm an awful person.
What's the question you have for Alyssa?
Well, I will tell you, Zach. You said that there's like these Squid Game type, death games, I think is what you described.
Yeah.
Them. So is there any dexterity based stuff in here where, you've got to do some kind of maneuvering or puzzle solving or anything, or is this just like playing out in the story?
It just plays out in the story. There will be 2 or 3 moments during the game where you have to make a choice between 2 different options, and they're always both horrible. And you can see that you're like, it could go this way or this way, and you have to try to choose the lesser of 2 evils, but you really don't know which one's the correct choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I've made bad decisions. Well, some of the decisions I've made have had negative consequences, but I don't know if it was the worst decision I could have made. That's what really keeps it interesting with this game, because those choices come up and you're like, oh, both of these could be really bad, but which one do I choose? I think is the least likely to be terrible.
So are you digging it?
I like it so far, yeah. But I would say probably if you're not a fan of visual novels, it's not going to pull you in.
Well, yeah.
It's a lot of reading, and there's no voice acting.
So what are you giving this for a score? Would you like a 4 out of 5?
I don't know what the score would be yet, but that is clever.
I mean, we do out of 10 scale, but
yeah, we do.
If you reduce the fraction, I guess that could. I don't know.
What's the price of this? Is it $4.99?
I think it's actually $24.99.
There's 4 in it.
Yeah, 4.
How long does it take to beat? About 4 hours?
I don't know. That would be funny though if it did. I'm currently a little under 3 hours, so I don't know. I will let you know if it takes 4 hours or not.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
It would.
Be awesome if it costs like $14.44 or something like that.
$4.44.
Oh, another thing with the 4 in the games, like every time there's a death game, 4 people die. So and there's also in the game your team is a team of 4 different characters, and then the game pits these 4 characters against each other in a variation of 4. So there's a lot of 4s going on in this game.
I think it's just fortuitous that this was episode 444.
It was.
Right.
I know it's the second time I pulled that joke, but I feel like you guys didn't hear it earlier, so I had to say it again.
Well, yeah. I know it's the year of Metroid. I really hope you get to see Metroid Prime 4.
That would be amazing. Yeah. I like it. So that is the Game of Fortune. Game of Fortune. Mm-hmm. Alyssa played that on PC. I believe it's exclusive.
I'm playing it on Steam Deck, but currently I believe, yes, it is exclusive to PC.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for checking that one out. Definitely seemed like a game up your alley. Let's go ahead and move on. Want to remind everybody about ways that you can follow The Gaming Outsider. If you like this podcast, want to join our community, be a part of the conversation, maybe have your comments read on an episode. We encourage you to go to facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. We got an awesome community there that I tried my best to keep updated with news, as well as all of our reviews and podcast episodes and everything. Also, our Discord server is where a lot of the conversations are going on right now. It is open to everybody. We do not wall that off for Patreon subscribers alone, although we have a Patreon section, which just for Patreon members. But there is a link in the show notes of this episode that you can click on and join it. I encourage you to do so. It is a lot of fun over there. Also, drop us a review if you can. We will read it on the show if you leave us a note and let us know what you think of the show, and it helps us get the word out there as well. Lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. There you will find links to all of our episodes, as well as all of our written content, and this week we had quite a few. We are playing catch-up. Apparently, it's the end of the quarter, and we all decided to kick it into gear. We got Alyssa's review of Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth, Rel's video review of 9 Years of Shadows, which is a game I really need to play. It is the year of Metroid. Also, Logan, our newest writer, is actually Kevin's son, wrote a review for Warhammer 40k, Shoota's Blood and Teeth. You can check out that review on the site. Also, Alyssa's review of Hotel Renovator, my review of Curse of the Sea Rats, and then Zack wrote 2 reviews this week, one for Resident Evil 4 and one for DC's Justice League Cosmic Chaos. All that, again, you can find at thegamingoutsider.com. With that, let's jump into this week's From the Outside In topic. The big news this week that we skipped in our news segment was the announcement that E3 is canceled for 2023. The future is still up in the air for the expo, but we still thought this was a big enough news story to make it our From the Outside In topic. So how did the two of you feel about this? E3, even before I say how do you feel about it, what do you think? Is this the end of E3, or is this just this year and the ESA is being like, oh yeah, it's going to come back next year? What do you think there, Zack?
I think this is the final nail in the coffin. Adios. I can't imagine it coming back. If you couldn't get any publishing partners this time, I don't see how you're going to get any next time, especially when in your cancellation post you're like, yeah, I guess people couldn't get demos together, so whatever. guess we won't do it. So it's just if I were any company, I'd be like, well, all right, I guess we don't ever want to talk to these people again.
That was such a douchey response too, wasn't it? Did you read it, Alyssa?
Oh, I read it. Yeah, very much seem to place the blame on
everybody but them.
Everyone besides them, yeah.
Which is true of the history of Reed Pop, so that's right in line with that company.
Oh, is it? I didn't.
I didn't realize that either.
I feel like I should read it. Do you guys mind if I read it really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. Here's the quote. It says, "This was a difficult decision because of all the effort we and our partners put toward making this event happen.
God, we worked so hard, guys. We're such hard workers.
But we had to do what's right for the industry and what's right for E3. We appreciate and understand that interested companies wouldn't have playable demos ready, and that resourcing challenges made being at E3 this summer an obstacle they couldn't overcome.
It's a shame they couldn't work as hard as we do."
I love how you're just like translating the quotes for me. "For those who did commit to E3 2023, we're sorry we can't put on the showcase you deserve and that you've come to expect from Reed Pop's event experiences." That's the end of the quote, but the press release does add that Reed Pop and the ESA will continue to work together on, quote, future E3 events. But I'm in the same boat as Zach. I don't think E3 will come back again. I think the name itself is tainted at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they might try to bring the name back or whatever, but it's going to be like some kind of like
they're gonna call it E4. No, they're gonna call it E4.
It's gonna be. It will never be what it was, which makes sense. I mean, when you and I went scat, it was already not what it was anyway, right? Because it started off as like game publishers trying to sell their product to Walmart and stuff,
right?
So E3 is slowly kind of becoming irrelevant for game publishers.
Well, then it kind of matriculated into, well, this is for press to get the information to send to get out to the world at large. This is back before streaming was a thing and YouTube was as big as it was, and then it started turning into a half press, half anybody that bought a ticket event,
right?
Which is what things like PAX, are still doing. And one of our commenters that will read. You know what? I'm going to read it right now. I'm going.
He's switching it up. He's switching it up, guys.
It's just such an impactful one. I don't even think I put it on the format. But Grant Henry, our the guy that does the music
and Metroid Metal,
Stemage and Metroid Metal, he made a comment that I thought was very poignant, and he deleted it. So I don't know what happened to it. So I apologize. I can't read it.
It's quite poignant indeed.
But I guess I will summarize, or what's the word you say? I will
paraphrase.
Paraphrase. Thank you.
You're a teacher, right?
I am. The word escaped my mind for a second.
I'm just kidding.
Gosh. Anyway,
do you teach fourth grade?
Amongst other things. I teach other teachers multiplication and division. But no, his comment was more along the lines of E3 is trying too hard to appease everybody in terms of the people, industry people, the press, and the public at large, which I thought was a very good point. That's kind of what the whole thing had turned into. And it's really hard to say something like that without sounding like a bunch of the podcasters that I get really annoyed listening to about E3 that complain about, all these people that aren't journalists coming in and just getting in the way and everything. That's not what I'm trying to sound like. But have a separate thing. You know what I mean? If you want to do the media thing, do the media thing. Have media exclusive stuff that you don't want other people to see, and then have a completely separate day. They tried to do that where it was both, and it just didn't work. I don't know. I think they were trying to do too much at once, and it just bothered me. But what do you think, Alyssa? You think it's done?
I feel like it is, yeah. Especially since pretty much all the, publishers and developers, the major ones, pulled out of E3 this year, and the ones left behind, I think I read that a lot of them didn't even know specific dates they needed to be ready for E3, and it's coming up in June. It was coming up in June. So it just felt, kind of like a nail in the coffin.
What was the last one? Ubisoft?
I believe it was
out?
Ubisoft, yeah.
Which it's weird that felt like the nail in the coffin when Nintendo already wasn't going.
Yeah, Sony, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Sony and Microsoft already hadn't been in E3, right? So it doesn't really matter.
Right.
'Cause Sony pulled out, or they were going to pull out, right? But then the E3 got canceled for the pandemic,
Right.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then Microsoft's been off campus at the theater for years now.
Yeah. Even when we were there, didn't we have to go like across the way?
Yeah, it's a different thing, you know.
Yeah. That was awesome, by the way.
I
really was
didn't
cool.
go, but yeah,
You did. You were there with me.
Not the Microsoft theater. Oh, you mean for the? Yeah, it was for the Xbox thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't like play the Gears demo or whatever because I had an appointment.
Oh, that's right. That's why you didn't remember the Lego card that I sat in, because you weren't there.
Yes.
Ah, that makes
correct.
sense now.
Yeah. But E3. Unfortunately, why publishers don't need E3 because
Yeah.
everybody's
They
got their
really
news feeds tuned to gobble up all this stuff anyway.
I mean, I feel like, and this sucks as a person that's doing their best to get into games journalism at the age of 42, almost 43 years old. I feel like it's dying. Like it's not even needed anymore.
Games journalism?
I mean, I know you're going to disagree with me in terms of like, writing is important and all that, but like,
No, I mean, in terms of what consumers want, you're absolutely right.
yeah,
It's true,
all they
yeah.
want to do is, but even like, even when E3 was going on and you have like all the IGNs and the GameSpots and everything just sitting and talking about what they just saw, I'm getting to where like, do we even need that? Like, can't I just make up my own mind about what I thought of it? And I sound totally hypocritical because we're sitting here doing a podcast,
Right.
right? But
Well, but that's your like people are listening to podcasts now. They're watching YouTube videos. They're not going to IGN to see a wall of text. And people, especially with the rise of YouTube and I guess social media, people find kind of the personalities they're interested in listening to, not a company's opinion.
right,
Mhm.
which
Why
on
listen
one hand
to-
is better, right?
it's better for creators, or probably right, or for writers maybe.
Well, I
not
mean,
writers,
it
'cause
also
nobody
spreads
reads,
it out a
but-
little bit instead of everybody just going to one or two or three locations. Like you said, you choose your personality. You follow a person that aligns to your tastes, or you like their writing style, or you like their delivery. You know what I mean? As opposed to, let's go to IGN, and what does that even mean? With a company that's as large as that, like what is IGN's voice, or
Right.
is it? You know what I mean?
No, I think you're totally right. Well, and also, this gets into the weeds more, but they all sound the same anyway. IGN, GameSpot, Polygon, Kotaku, all of their articles read the same. They all have the same opinions on any kind of controversy. So what is the point of going to them? They're all just kind of one. They're all one voice anyway.
It's funny you say that because I don't even really pay attention to the author of a review I read at IGN, but
Yeah.
it does all sound like the same voice.
Well, they all hire people that think the exact same way they do. So,
But you're our
you know.
editor, so like when you read a Scott Clark review or an Alyssa, I almost said Alyssa Milano. When you read an Alyssa White review or a Kevin Honeyford review or a Chris Behrensmeyer review, does it sound like them, or does it sound like the Gaming Outsider?
well, for me, yeah. If you guys didn't give me your bylines, I would still be able to know who wrote who.
Do you feel like you would know that reading an IGN article? Like if you read it, would you be able to like, oh, that's a Brian Altano review?
No. I mean, maybe back in the day when the personalities were a little bigger.
Mm-hmm.
When you had your Greg Millers or Colin Moriarty's or Jeff Gersmans at these sites, but beyond, of course. But all those people left because they all knew you could go do your own thing and make way more money.
Right.
And because if people were there for Greg Miller anyway, what's his benefit to say at IGN?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if he's the talent, like
Right.
he should, Or you could just do what we do and make $0.
I love it. Yeah, I lose money every year. It's great.
Ah, boy. But well, how do the two of you feel about this news? Are you going to miss E3? Are you glad it's gone? What do you think?
I'm not necessarily glad it's gone. It is bittersweet because, growing up, it was always my dream to go to E3. But of course, when I was a kid, E3 was a completely different kind of thing. Again, that was back when it was just media. It was a whole different ballpark. And I did get the chance, to do the digital E3 with you and CB in 2021.
So much fun.
Yeah, it was. I will never forget that. But again, I mean, you could see all these publishers and developers put on their own shows, trailers are put on YouTube. So it doesn't feel like it's a necessity. It's more of just, I guess, nostalgia, really feeling that kind of bittersweet, like sad feeling that it's not going to be here. But I mean, again, there's not really a necessity for it right now. Or probably in the future, to be honest, either. And there's also, Jeff Keighley's whole Summer Games Fest also that...
Dude, what a savage.
I know.
Like 7 minutes after they canceled E3, he's like, don't forget to tune into the Summer Games Fest.
I saw that.
Dude, it was like a half hour.
Not even.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Good for him. Good for him. Twisting the knife.
I mean, I feel like he is E3 now. Not by name, but like he is what we're all going to be looking at, his Summer Game stuff in June.
Right. He's the hype man for the video game industry.
Which,
for sure, yeah.
I still like the guy. He makes some goofy decisions now and then, but I
sure does. Well, I just wish he would stop geeking out over Hollywood celebrities.
Well,
I think he and I would get along a lot better.
I mean, that and just feeling the need to bring that kind of stuff into video games can be their own thing without.
No, of course,
film.
yeah. But I think he wants to meet those famous people. So
you think that's what it is? He just wants to meet.
I really do. Yes. Much like Hideo Kojima always wants to meet everybody famous. It makes sense why they're so close as friends. They both want to hang out with Kiefer Sutherland really badly.
I never got that vibe, but I'm gonna be like paying close attention to it now that you're saying that.
Why else do you have the show close with Vin Diesel or Keanu Reeves, who have nothing to do with anything?
I mean, Keanu Reeves was in Cyberpunk. That was a pretty.
And then,
he sure was. He wasn't.
Vin Diesel is in Arc 2.
Well, yeah. He's certainly been in games, yes.
Yeah.
Or Michelle Rodriguez. How about that?
Oh, who are like clearly just reading off a cue card, like we're paid to be here.
Yep.
Right, or other.
They're like the Richard Sherman of the video game industry. I don't know if you understand that reference, but
who the hell's Richard Sherman?
Richard Sherman was a running back for the Seattle Seahawks that was forced to go to a press conference, but he refused to say anything. So anytime a reporter asked him a question, he just said, "I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here." And then they'd ask him another question. So how do you feel about the running on the left side, and how do you feel running again? I'm just here so I don't get fined.
It's funny. On the one hand, I respect it. On the other hand, you make more money than everybody I know combined. So
right.
Maybe just answer a question.
I mean, there was more to the story than that, but
sure
like if he didn't go to the press conference, he would have got fined. So that's all he said in the entire press conference. It was kind of cool. Anyway, I feel that's what I thought of when I saw Michelle Rodriguez and was it Vin Diesel?
Yeah,
they were there 1 year together. Yeah,
when it was to promote that like Fast and the Furious
game that no one cared about.
Well, it was Forza DLC, wasn't it?
Oh,
like
that one.
Forza Horizon DLC. But they just did not care. They're just like, I'm just here because they paid me.
Right.
And like this year, they had Al Pacino. It's like, what?
Oh, yes.
And he was even like, I don't play video games, but my grandson does.
That was the one that drove me crazy. What was Pacino doing there?
Like, weren't they promoting like a game that had like all these Hollywood actors in it? You could have got one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah, they could have had, I think
the closest Pacino's been to a game is picking out his sound-alike for the Scarface game.
He just sounded like the old guy that was, it's a series of tubes.
Yeah, when he's like, voice actors are actors too. I'm like, that's, whoa, man. Sure, they always have been. It's weird that you're coming to this conclusion now.
So what about you, Zach? How do you feel about E3 going away?
Oh, I mean, with the nostalgia for it, of course, bums me out because, who didn't love E3, right? It was like the gamer Super Bowl. Everyone was glued to their screens and paying attention. You get to watch all these developers get interviewed, and I always loved it because it felt so, like real, like very like there's a lot of charm and heart because mistakes happened.
Oh yeah.
Whether it would be
live demos,
Uncharted freezing up, or The Last of Us demo going so well that they just dropped the DualShock like a mic at the end, which is pretty baller, or fighting mutant enemy crabs. realistic Japanese battles. Anyway, so you're fighting this giant mutant crab that you can hit its weak spot for massive damage. But all of that stuff has been kind of slowly burned away anyway, as they've kind of refined, and it just sucks. I love those live demos because I think that's really kind of showcasing your power as a publisher or a developer.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, here's this game. It's not even coming out for another 9 months, but look at this. We got it running. We're going to blow you away with what's happening. But now they just do, very refined recorded gameplay footage that they put online. And it doesn't have the same excitement to it at all. So I'll definitely always miss that. Of course, I'll miss all the dumb stuff. The historic moments of $599. We're never going to get that back. We believe our customers will get a second job to afford this console.
You were talking about live demos. I'm still convinced that a lot of the demos that even we saw were not live. Do you remember when we saw the Dying Light 2 demo where the guy was supposedly playing the game live in front of us? I'm still convinced he wasn't. It really felt like that was just pre-recorded.
I don't know. I have no reason to doubt that he's played that 300 times and knows when to pan the camera correctly.
Yeah, but still, there'd still be moments of
I feel like it'd almost take as much effort to fake using the controller as it would to just have the demo running.
Well, they had like a little partition up, so you could see that he was at a desk with his hands on the keyboard. But who's going to be analyzing that when they could be looking at the screen seeing the gameplay?
Yeah, I must be thinking of a different demo.
Really?
Because
we saw it multiple times.
I could have swore he had a controller in his hand. It doesn't matter. This is deep in the weeds.
I just that. My point is that I liked it when you saw something on stage that was live, and clearly it was live because things would go wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was something kind of charming about that, or when they.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, before it got all corporatized and sanitized, you got all sanitized,
and everything now is pre-recorded. Like when they do live streams, even we're going to cut to whomever now to do this, awkward presentation or whatever. No, it's all been recorded 17 times.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're just all getting what we want. So even doing it live anymore just seems weird. Calling it live, it's not live.
Well, yeah, we know it, and we know it's not.
Right. I miss the live. I miss
it. Well, now they always do the weird. Remember all those weird awkward times where they'd have people fake being friends, for a Division demo. We're like, hey guys, make sure to flank on the left. And it always sounds so goofy, but now I feel like that's the normal stuff.
Yeah.
Where they have these live streamers who are just goofy as hell talking over stuff.
Or remember, that's a good point. Remember Aisha Tyler during the Ubisoft demos and stuff? She'd wear a t-shirt that said Girlwood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She was so edgy. I just miss that kind of goofy energy.
Yeah, me too. Or was it Joel McHale clearly having disdain for having to be there?
Yeah.
That was a classic one.
I just hope
was it Jamie Kennedy who was straight up drunk at an Activision press conference?
I mean, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it does.
I think Tony Hawk called him out on it because it was demoing for a Tony Hawk demo, and he was asked him did you see that, Tony? He's like, are you aware of where you are, Jamie?
I gotta go back and see that because I don't remember that at all.
Oh man, it was good.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss it. I mean, E3 has been a staple for me since I was a teenager in terms of that was what I couldn't wait to watch it. I remember even before doing the Gaming Outsider, I think I was being that nerd that was posting on my Twitter account everything that was going on. Hey, if you want to know what's going on at E3, follow me on Twitter. Nobody followed. Nobody,
right.
I mean? But it was cool to me, and I felt like it was my step towards trying to be a journalist. And
journalism, if I may interject,
yeah,
played such a big, cool role of you think those GameSpot kind of talk shows at E3 where they would they would do those one-on-one sit-downs with the developer, and maybe the demo would be playing in the background or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But even those were better than what we get now, because now the person doing the interviewing in quotes, is hired by the publisher, so they're not asking any actual questions or anything you actually want to know about. But back when it was, say, Jeff Gerstmann or Ryan Davis interviewing somebody, they would occasionally ask those questions that you wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
Like Splinter Cell Double Agent being like, so is Michael Ironside coming back? And then they have to kind of dodge it because he wasn't in the first trailer or whatever.
Right.
But now it is, like I said, it's just the sanitized stuff of boy, it's just, who could even imagine graphics this good?
Or
Well, I think it was
even worse is like we talked about the Tears of the Kingdom demo with the guy that's like translating for
Anuma.
For Anuma, it's like, I can attach this blog. Look how fast it's going. Like, dude.
Do you guys remember the first demo for Hogwarts Legacy where the people were talking over it? But they were so overly enthusiastic about everything happening, I had to stop watching it. Because they're like, you could fly across the map? I don't think I've ever seen that before. Oh yeah, not in the 1,300 other games?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Like, we're, especially our generation, in our 30s and 40s that have grown up, that these games are clearly targeted for, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We can smell the BS, dude. Like we can tell when it's genuine interest, or if you were just being that hype person. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But yeah. I'm gonna miss it, but I'm also of the mind that it's not necessary anymore, just because of the way the world is with the modern streams and unfortunately just all the TikTok and everything. Like, it's just so much easier to get your news out there, and you don't need you don't need to tell it to the press so that the press can tell it to everybody.
I feel like E3 was necessary for us, but it's not necessary for the publishers.
Right.
Yeah.
But for us, you do get, back then, right, when the journalists when they actually had to talk to the press, you did get more of an honest look at things. And now, but what is the benefit to the publisher to do that?
Right.
It's in their interest to deceive you as much as possible. See Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Right. I mean, they want people talking about their game, good or bad, right? I mean, even despite Cyberpunk's issues, still sold.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no, there's no such thing as bad press, is like one of the oldest sayings when it comes to journalism, right? So anything that as long as people are talking about it, and that's why they were okay doing it. But you're right, we needed them more than they needed us, because we wanted to get involved, because we wanted to get information, we wanted to be part of it, we wanted to get stuff before other people so we could be first to say something, which is but. People like you and me, Zach, that went, we also wanted to go because we wanted to bump shoulders with people from the industry.
Of course, man. We want to shake Sam Lake's hand.
Yeah. I mean,
by the way.
How did it feel?
Amazing. It felt like shaking Max Payne's hand.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely going to miss it. I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to go. I'm bummed. I wasn't going to be able to go this year anyway. And it looked like nobody from our team was going to be going. We weren't going to even be putting an application in, which it's kind of funny how that worked out. We're the reason, guys.
It wasn't E3. They were just calling it E3.
Yeah,
and you could smell that coming a mile away.
Mm-hmm. They're like, wait, the Gaming Outsider's not going. We're done.
As soon as a consumer-focused company like ReadPop got involved, you knew it wasn't going to be E3 anymore.
Right, but I mean. Aren't they the ones that also put on like PAX and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, or like Comic-Con and stuff like that. But that's all designed to sell stuff,
right?
And E3 definitely was not. They're not. E3 is not about selling merch.
Yeah, there was no like booths to buy stuff.
There was at the 2019 one. I remember there was a few.
Were there?
Because that's when they let the public in.
Oh, yeah.
But at the 2018 one, no. But I'm so glad I got to go, because I would have regretted a lot of my life's decision making if I didn't get to E3 before it got shut down. So, and no offense to Alyssa or CB.
Oh, no offense taken.
But
but
Scott can attest. I've never been more alive than when I was at E3.
And I will say it's one of my, and again, no offense to you, Alyssa or CB, but it is one of my fondest memories of this podcast was spending that week with Zack. I mean, we spent every hour of every day, except for when we had separate appointments, together. We ate together.
Right. Taco Bell.
We went to Colorado, California to get Taco Bell. We would be texting each other while we're in line, comparing notes, and then every night coming back and just sitting around a mic and talking about what we saw all day. Like, it was exhausting in the most satisfying and glorious way ever.
Right.
Those are genuinely some of my favorite recordings we've ever done. Not because I wasn't. Please, Alyssa, don't take that the wrong way, but
no.
there's something also different about recording. We found this out. There's something about recording in person instead of over the internet that just made it feel so much more like a natural conversation. It was great.
When you're talking in person, there's none of the, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. There's none of that because you can read each other's body language.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's not even a fraction of a delay. It's just like right there in person. And it was so much fun just geeking out together. The times we get to go on the floor, just the Resident Evil 2 demo.
Yeah,
remember that?
Go through the haunted house.
There's actually a video of that on our YouTube if anybody wants to check that out. Like they let us take a camera through there. I felt like a big deal getting to play that game way before it came out. That felt awesome.
Still got a shirt.
Do you really?
I still have the shirt. Yeah. With it has like the zombie on the inside of the shirt.
Oh, that's cool.
Just cool.
Oh, that is cool. I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss that opportunity because I feel like we could try to relive that with something like a PAX, or maybe someday we'll go to a GDC or what's the one out in Germany?
Gamescom.
Gamescom.
Gamescom. I know that's a tall order just because of the expense associated with that, but like, how cool would it be to go to? It's going to be so hard to capture that magic because everything else is, it's more like a Comic-Con for video game.
Right.
And I think there's a positive to that, but there was something cool about feeling like I had a hat with a little white thing in it that said press. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah, Jimmy Olsen out there.
Yeah. I did. That felt cool. It was one of the. I think you described it very well. It was one of the times I felt most alive, and I've never seen Zack so just like get up and go. I mean, we genuinely hang out online more than we hang out in person anyway. But it was, I was exhausted, but I wasn't tired. Is that?
Yeah. Well, the exhaustion came later.
Yeah, like after it was all done.
While the week was happening, yeah, you could fight through any kind of tiredness.
Yeah.
But then, when I was on the plane back, I was out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's probably those bugs you ate in that bread.
That was crazy, man. Couldn't believe it. I ate half that thing before I saw all those ants.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was he like, if I weren't there, I'm pretty sure Zack would have eaten it anyway because he was worried I was going to judge him because he was so hungry.
Oh,
and he's like, is it weird that I feel like I just want to eat it anyway? I was like, dude, go ahead. Like,
I just couldn't do it. Yeah, there's like cream cheese jalapeno sweetbread. It was so good until you got to the other side.
Like a bunch of gnats at the one end.
Gnats and ants. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
But also I was really hungry.
That and our it was the same one where we had that storefront that was our Airbnb that was like had barber chairs in it, and there was like I still have that still saved in my phone. That says like straight out of Compton.
Yeah, me too.
That was in the car crash.
Dude, there was a high-speed chase the first time we were there with the helicopter overhead, and the car crashed down the street. It was awesome. We heard so we went. We
had the whole, I heard it. I was in my kitchen. I was cleaning a dish, so I came out. We like literally had that conversation with somebody. It was great. But well, we're clearly going to miss it. But I think we all are kind of in agreement that it is time to put a fork in it. And I think we're all in agreement too that it's not coming back. But I want to see what the community thought of this. Let's start over on Facebook. Zack, why don't you kick things off for us?
Well, Andrew Zek's channel says Inner Mr. Caffeine. It says, we can always travel back in time to enjoy it whenever we want. That guy sucked. That guy was the worst, man. He made that unwatchable. Who thought that guy was a good idea?
Well, we remembered it.
I guess. I don't remember any of the games that were shown. I just remember his goofy attitude.
Yeah. That and Aisha Tyler, like I said earlier, stands out. The Kinect demo where the person was like waving their arms and legs in front of the TV, and we're like, "This is the future of games."
Right? Or remember the Miyamoto demo of Skyward Sword where the controls didn't work at all, and he was like, "It's all you guys. It's all your fault with the cell phones." Like, no, I'm pretty sure the Wii Motion Plus just doesn't work, buddy.
That's really funny. Alyssa, you want to read the next one?
Sure. Sean Coates writes, "Welp, looks like I won't be picking you guys up from the airport yet again.
Aw.
It's a shame that digital showcases and live events can't seem to coexist, or rather, the industry just isn't willing to try. I've never been to E3, but I do know that nothing beats a hands-on demo, having conversations with devs, and building connections and contacts with them. Assuming E3 as we know it is dead, perhaps the new management can just rebrand the event, call it PAX Southwest, and just make it an event for mid-tier and indie developers. Living in an all-digital showcase world eliminates the memorable and off-the-cuff moments like $299 and You're Breathtaking. And it would also eliminate audience reactions losing their minds at a console reveal events after a competitor botches theirs.
Dude, that is another... He makes a really good point about just like the audience reactions when something awesome happened.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
like-
the Keanu Reeves, You're Breathtaking. We were there for that, weren't we?
We were. Actually,
that's
like...
awesome.
It was so weird, dude. Somebody I randomly came across, like on TikTok of all places, they were showing a clip from that press conference, and it was when they announced Atlas or something, and it was oh my god, dude from Microsoft Games, guy in charge.
Phil Spencer?
Thank
Phil
you,
Spencer.
Phil Spencer. It was a whole thing. Phil Spencer showing something off, and there's you and me in the corner, me staring at the
Right.
teleprompter trying to take notes, looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that was such a cool moment. He came out on stage. It was really cool.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I was much more impressed by Phil Spencer being down the aisle than Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, wasn't Major Nelson like right there too? Like he was like an arm's length away, and we're just like,
Yeah,
dude,
something like that.
that's Larry Herb.
That's Larry Herb. That's the man himself.
Yeah.
Dude, Sean's right. We'll never get the PlayStation, this is how you share a game kind of moment again.
Well, that was online.
But they scrambled to put that together because of the Xbox's disastrous press conference.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. That came out like an hour and a half later after that, right?
Yeah. So
Yep.
they filmed that in the waiting room of E3.
Yeah, it was pretty. That's pretty
Just-
great. Which is funny.
That
'cause
video pretty much won him a console generation.
It did. But what's funny? Nobody does that now. Who shares games except for us? Like, we
It
mail.
was- It was never a conversation of reality. It was a conversation of perception.
It's a really good way to put it. All right, over on Discord, Ferris says, sad. It was a big deal for a number of years and arguably the most important annual venue for showcasing the medium. So many memories. I hope if this is the end it. I don't think we need a pathetic death rattle over a couple more years. Could not agree more.
Yes,
Yeah.
sadly, that's exactly what they'll do. But
They'll try and it'll...
Reed Hop and ESA will shuffle out the shambling corpse of E3 and try to convince you it's worth going to.
And nobody's going to go, not even press. Or all the press is going to go and there's not going to be anything to cover there.
Right. Oh yeah, it's just going to be a bunch of like gamers and press that show up with no publisher. So just like, I don't know, I guess we just buy shirts now? I don't know. Yeah. It's going to suck.
Or it just turns into a retro thing like most video game conventions are now.
Right.
And they just have nothing but
Sure.
vendor tables. You know what I mean?
They should get legendary game developers to show up like Comic Cons do for legendary writers and artists and just have them sign at booths. That'd be, that's something.
Yeah?
Mhm.
That
I
would
don't
be
feel like-
cool.
I don't think game developers get their shine.
I
Voice
agree.
actors that have aged out do. Like
Yeah, but
like
I also
certain
don't
people-
think that people are as animated as like a John Carmack. You know what I mean? Like they're not, developers
of course, yeah.
are not always
But
type A personalities.
Neither is Kurt Busiek, but he still goes to cons and you're excited to get your stuff signed.
Yeah.
You don't think people want to get their copy of River Raid signed?
Probably.
I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there. Anyway,
We're running out of people that remember what River Raid is.
unacceptable.
I'm honestly surprised you remember River Raid. Have you played River Raid?
Yeah.
Okay.
She got a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Game Awards, didn't she? A few years ago?
Possibly. They all kind of jumble together after you get
Okay.
40.
Fair,
Just
fair
saying. Old man Scott Clark here.
enough. He's ancient. He can barely get his string of sentences together.
But I know what direction Chicago is from Rockford.
Well, okay, kinda. Mark Zavansky writes in, much like the FTOI topic from last week. Well, from the outside in. I've never seen it as an acronym before. It threw me off. Mark Zavansky writes in, much like the from the outside in topic from last week, the daily trailers and online spoilers have not only reduced the anticipation for new games, it has also rendered E3 superfluous in its current form. I enjoyed hearing about the distant releases and the lengthier gameplay videos, but release dates get pushed so frequently these days, it's hard to take the E3 information seriously. I will
point.
certainly miss the annual convention of the companies and of the fans and media personalities. It was still an event about video games, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right. It's hard. Yeah, it feels harder to get excited about games these days.
Well, especially because you feel like you're just constantly being lied to. Not even just release dates, but like what you're promising, like No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, like all these stories, like of are we even going to get what we're getting?
Right.
Do we need all that information?
Nothing special.
Well, remember how cool it was when things like Fallout 4 were announced and like, oh, it's coming out in like 2.5 months,
Right.
or
Cool, yeah.
Or Hi-Fi Rush is available to download right now on Game Pass. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to pay anything. Just go play this game we've made. It's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I miss those kinds of things.
Never trust the first release date here. That's for sure.
And now I feel like everything, anytime we do see something new, it's difficult to get excited because I'm not going to be able to see that for like another 2 or 3 years. New Ronin that we were talking about last week, that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle things.
Last Ronin, yeah.
Last Ronin, sorry.
Yeah.
What did I say?
New Ronin.
New Ronin? The new Last Ronin game.
That's a sequel where it's their kid, the New Ronin.
But I mean, like, it's difficult. I think it's a really cool idea, but we're still like 4 years away from that being a reality, right? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, probably. With game development times these days.
Yeah. And like everyone's like, oh, they're comparing it to God of War. It doesn't exist yet, guys. That's just what they're claiming. How can you say that our game is going to be... You're just using a buzzword because that game did so well and was insanely popular, and you want people talking about it. And that seems disingenuous. So
mission accomplished, though. People are talking about it.
I know. And I'm still excited, but we're never going to mention it again for another 2 years until we finally see a screenshot. And then 6 months later, we're going to get a teaser trailer. And then
a CG teaser trailer.
And there's not going to be any gameplay. And then a year after that, we'll finally see you know what I mean? It's just going to be this never-ending cycle. E3 used to be like things that we could look forward to in the near future.
Yeah. I mean, I still kind of prefer, I like them saying, hey, we're making a Last Ronin game, and then not talking for 3 years. That's okay with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just let me know what you're working on and then come back when you have it ready.
Exactly.
But don't give me all these interstitial updates that are lies.
Like Kickstarter updates.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Or I was gonna think like Suicide Squad, where they just like show off a trailer a year. Like, I don't need that. Just wait till you're ready.
Yeah, exactly.
And then disappoint me.
All right, Alyssa, you're up.
Caramel Bear writes, I feel so bad for CB in all seriousness. I was really praying that he would get the chance to go. Sorry, my dude.
Oh, I want to know how many people out there have had the same luck that CB has had, because he finally got accepted. The first year that we applied for him, he got denied. Zack and I got to go. And then next year, he finally got approved. And then they canceled the thing because of E3. Or, excuse me, because of COVID. Fast forward to this year, we didn't even get the application in, and they canceled it again. So, like, it's been a dream of his to go for a long time. I do feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Because he would have been a lot of fun to work with at E3. That dude can talk to anybody. Like, no shame.
Hey, not for nothing, I got us into some pretty sweet spots.
Yeah. You're the reason we got to play Days Gone.
Yeah. Or Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Rise of the Tomb Raider as well. Awesome. Kevin Honigford writes in and says, I never got to experience E3 personally. Not anything more than the general public did anyway. Though through magazine articles and websites, etc. Once upon a time, long ago, I would have been overjoyed to have gotten the opportunity. Since the age of the internet, though, it's become less and less appealing because nothing is a surprise anymore. And the biggest thrill for me was seeing what big things were unveiled at the event. Companies now announce years ahead of time that they're working on something, and the internet gets us every update we could ever dream of on the road to its release. Sad to see it go, but the writing was on the wall. It makes good points. Just not really necessary.
There was a magic now long dead from reading something in a magazine, because it almost felt like you unearthed the piece of information.
Yeah, because you actually had to like get a physical piece of something or wait for it to come in the mail or get it off a shelf in a store.
And then you actually had to like read stuff.
Yeah.
To kind of earn the news.
Speaking of dying art.
Like reading?
Reading. Yeah.
Oh,
I had to watch a documentary.
For everyone else not reading right now.
Are you? Yeah, I believe it. I had to watch a documentary during one of our like institute days at school. Like we had the kids don't have school, but we have to go through training for a day. And they made us watch a documentary about illiteracy in America. the shockingly high number of people that don't know how to read. Like, guy was a multi-billion-dollar CEO of a company for
Didn't know
years.
how to read.
He was in his 60s, and he finally started to learn how to read.
Oh.
I just don't find that surprising, I guess.
I did, and I kind of was mixed by the message because I was like, oh, so basically my job is irrelevant.
Right. Well, that's sadly why it didn't surprise me, is because I've known you long enough.
Yeah, right.
And I've
Yeah.
learned how the education system treats the idea of reading and math.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising.
If you feel like it.
Right.
That's pretty much what
Dude,
it boils down
I think
to.
about, like, in 10 years, Batman Year One will be unreadable because all of Batman's journals are written in cursive.
Don't get me started on cursive. I'm anti-cursive.
No, we don't need it. No,
No.
not at all. I
Yeah.
agree with you. But it's just, there's going to be an entire generation that can't read.
I'm like,
A
what are
Batman
these
comic.
hieroglyphics?
What is this? I've heard of cursive. I didn't know it was real.
I mean, dude, we're getting to where, like, just the written word is going to be irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, remember the movie Idiocracy?
Yes, it's a documentary, it turned out.
It's becoming a documentary. I was talking about this with CB yesterday on the way home from Milwaukee. Like, the things that remember the characters would watch on TV?
Yeah.
Are what we're watching on TV now. Like, like, I don't know if you guys don't spend the day with 9 and 10-year-olds like I do, but the things that they watch for entertainment, I don't think we're going to have movies in the next 20, 30 years. I think they're going to be a thing of the past.
Or edited into irrelevance.
Yeah.
Because so many movie trailers now make no sense to me. They're so edited so quickly. I
Mhm.
assume for TikTok brains.
Yeah.
It just
Oh, yeah.
just means it's nothingness. Anyway, this is a whole different podcast now.
Yeah.
Get more of that on our Patreon exclusive BSing show.
Yeah. Is that what we're going to call it?
I don't know what to call it yet, but Doomerang writes in, I'm kind of glad E3 is dying. It's a bit unfair for gaming journalism to have such a stranglehold in one place. Now the power will spread to everyone around the world. I'm in no position to fly to California and wait in line for 3 hours to play 5 minutes of a game, but I sure am in a good position to watch it with a favorite YouTuber or on a podcast I enjoy instead. I feel like Doomerang might be younger than us.
Yeah. And welcome to the Gaming Outsider, by
Yeah.
the way. He's
Yeah,
one of our new
yeah.
Discord members as well.
Hope he doesn't hate us now.
No. I mean, everybody's younger than me. So.
Yeah, no, I meant about the unfair to get. I do not think it's unfair to get. I was just espousing the importance of what journalism used to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was saying it's unfair for gaming journalism. But I would argue, how is it more fair that a YouTuber gets to watch it than a journalist? What's the difference? Either way,
Yeah.
you Doomerang are not getting to play it.
Right. But that YouTuber might have more. What's the word they say? Might have more influence than a journalist anymore if people aren't reading articles.
No, of course, but my point was, Doomerang said it's unfair for gaming journalism to have such a stranglehold in one place. Now that power will get to spread to everyone. But if it's just to the YouTubers and podcasters anyway, it's the same level. It's the same level of removed that you already were before.
Do you think exclusivity needs to just go away in games journalism? Like, is there a reason to give a small subset of people early access to something?
Well, to your point, it's the influence they have because if a YouTube channel is one guy, it creates the illusion that, oh, he's just a guy trying to make it, when really he has the same advantages that, the Washington Post had.
It's all
back in
about
the day.
perception, right?
But it's
Mhm.
but it's all about perception. You get tricked into thinking like, man, he broke through the system, but really he's the system now. It's just
Right.
it has just shifted.
Interesting. All right, last one is Alyssa.
Yes. And Paul Hine writes, I'm a little torn. While I never got a chance to do E3 in person, the Three Ring Circus that is a big event like that is hard to replicate with online-only events. In-person events are important to create new connections and make new friendships. Memories are made while doing things, not just passively consuming them. While I'm never one to encourage gatekeeping, the cost of one of these spectacular events guarantees that only the in-crowd can participate and will always be aspirational for us lowly folk. Hopefully, a new event will rise to take E3's place, either a large international event or smaller local events.
I like what he said about, in-person events, making the new connections and making new friendships. It's funny that he posts that because I met Paul yesterday for the first time. He's been an active member of our community for a long time. And meeting him in person has like totally changed the dynamic of that friendship. I'm already in the process of trying to set up a time for him, Kevin, Aubrey, and I to all go to a concert together. We're all fans of live music. That wouldn't have happened if we hadn't met in person. You know what I mean? So, he makes a good point. There is an importance for that, and that's why things like R2V2 2023, October 14th. There is the international one, like we talked about, Gamescom and things like that. But I think the majority of people are just fine reading this stuff or viewing it on the internet as opposed to actually being there. But
that's going to create some bigger societal problems down the line. But that's a different.
We saw the documentary. We talked about it just a minute ago. So.
Yeah, you see.
My goodness, that movie! Like I thought it was. Oh, that's kind of funny. Now it's like,
dude, I still can't get over that episode of X-Files I was telling you about when they were trying to talk about how the U.S. government will eventually turn to fascist state by convincing everyone to fight each other instead of fighting the people in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happening.
It's literally happening.
It's unbeliable.
You can't
Chris Carter wrote a fun episode of an alien show in the 90s that just straight up predicted the future.
I mean, we don't want to get political, but this week we had a really awful, tragic event happen, right?
Yeah, Are you talking about the school shooting?
Yes. You remember when 9/11 happened and everybody for like a week was all banded together in like, we're united. We're all on the same page. If that happened today, I feel like it would just still be completely divided. We had something tragic happen this past week.
You're totally right. 9/11 would be politicized.
It totally would. And they would find some way to make it about how the other side of the aisle is awful to the core. And
they would somehow make it about drag queens.
Probably.
Yeah, they would.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. It just angers me so much that something like that happens and we can't even take 10 seconds to go, man, that's awful. It's just immediately jump right into it. See, this is why they're awful. No, this is why you're awful. Like,
I think it was as soon as Columbine happened and we all decided that killing kids was okay, it was over.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was one step further when I think Sandy Hook.
No, you're right. That was
when it turned to elementary kids, because like high school kids are almost adults.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when it was like little kids, I was and absolutely nothing changed. I was like, well, and now like it happens and it's awful, but I feel like I'm becoming.
Yeah, you're desensitized. Well, it happens every day now.
We've had like 19 of them this year, and it's
awful.
It's April. We're 3 months through the year.
Right. Anyway,
this just totally got off topic.
Yeah.
So,
anyway,
but,
you remember Pico's High School on Newgrounds where you could play as a school shooter? That was pretty messed up, huh?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know.
No. Well, all right.
I remember there was a game called Hatred. Wasn't
I do remember that one, yeah.
That one, yeah. People got weirdly up in arms about that one.
I mean, that trailer kind of made me sick to my stomach to watch it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, that made me feel weird. Maybe it's because I work in a school.
Let's say I must have been too much a part of the generation that had constant access to Live Leak. Because Hatred did nothing for me.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't. I probably would have sought it out back in the day because I was, I had a messed up head, but
you were edgy.
Anyway, E3, that was a fun topic.
Yeah.
Sad to see you go. So farewell to E3. I'll have to see what happens in the future. It's not even fair to say farewell because it's not official, but one of two things is going to happen. They're going to feebly try next year, or they're just going to be like, we're done.
It felt like no one was taking it seriously this time, let alone the next time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then like I saw a couple of people on Twitter that I don't know them by name. I just assume they're affiliated with the ESA because they're like, we tried, guys, we're sorry. And then you just have like an outpouring of people like, oh, you did your best and blah blah blah. And
yeah,
I don't feel that way. I feel like
I don't feel like they did their best.
I don't think they did either. And when it comes, it's gonna always be about money, right? It's hard not for something like that to be about money. But thank you to everybody who wrote in. We really do appreciate it. We promised last week that this week's episode was going to be on community questions, but with that news, we kind of wanted to shift it up. So next week, we promise we will be doing an episode on community questions. So get those questions geared up and ready to go. Also, do me a favor. We started a TikTok page where that's how I've been posting the question each week. Drop some comments on there. We'd like to kind of get some traction on that. Kevin is really working hard on promoting that. It is at the GoCast, and that's where it goes. But I also link that TikTok on social media for everybody to watch it. And also, we kind of take some clips from these episodes and put them on there to make people laugh. Hopefully nobody was actually offended by last week's. It was totally a joke. But yeah, community questions next week. Stay tuned for that. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thank you so much for listening. I would like to remind you that the episode is produced by Kevin Honigford. All the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, do you have any parting words or suggestions for our listeners?
Not really. Outside of Resident Evil and Red Dead, I've pretty much just been watching the John Wick movies to catch up for 4.
I need to as well.
But everybody already knows those are good. Hey, John Wick's pretty good. I don't understand the reverence, I think, for John Wick, but I do think they're pretty cool movies.
They're fun movies.
I love all that. It is cool that it's not based on anything, but it still has this awesome universe with the Continental and having their own currency.
Yeah,
and all these rules that assassins share. All that stuff's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
But Keanu Reeves is not a good actor, even though I love him to death.
Not great. Yeah, better than me.
No, maybe, I don't know.
I still haven't seen the third one, so I'm gonna go back and rewatch all 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing because I have not seen the third one either.
Oh, it's really good. But I am a big John Wick fan, so.
Yeah, 2 is the first one's great. 2 is exceptional. I loved it.
I feel like I like the first one better.
I did as well. 2 is my least favorite, but even saying that is, I still gave 2, I think 4.5 out of 5 stars. So,
I mean,
oh man,
my favorite thing about the first one, and I'm just kind of this way in general with franchises, like the introduction of the character is always my favorite. Yeah. But like just the fact that like you don't know who John Wick is, but as soon as you meet a new character that knows who John Wick is, their reaction immediately is, "Oh no,
yeah,
oh we messed up."
Baba Yaga.
Yeah, I love that everybody is afraid of John Wick.
Everybody is just terrified of John Wick, and we don't know why until halfway through that movie when things start. It's just great.
Well, I also in the second one, he also just like knows everybody in Rome in the world. Like it's just fun that, and then like he almost kills this bodyguard, and he's like, "You could take the night off." He's like, "Thank you, Mr. Wick." It's like it looks like he just got spared by God himself.
It's so good.
Dude, the best part about the second one is that Ruby Rose is in it, and that immediately dates the movie because she was a big deal for about a year there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and cause now she's irrelevant.
They tried to make her big again with the Orange is the New Black series, and that just never.
Well, I think that was her breakout.
Yeah, it was her breakout.
Oh, was it? I have that backwards?
Yeah, and then people thought she was going to be a big deal, and she was not. Then she had to do a CW show, which is never a good sign.
I did like Orange is the New Black weirdly for some reason, but
no, I like the first few seasons.
Yeah, it got kind of wore out.
I remember there was a scene where they all escaped prison and went skin deeping in the lake, but then all walked back into prison or something, and then I stopped watching the show.
Yeah, right?
Because that was a little too hard to believe.
Alyssa, what about you?
I mean, I've been watching and reading and playing things, but it's just everything's kind of been a blur because my mental health has not been the best lately. So, just gonna say, be kind to yourself because I've spent the last week pretty much beating myself up internally. Be kind to yourself. Don't do what I do. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So, be kind to yourself.
Aw. Well, how do I follow up that, Alyssa?
No, I do not mean to drag down the episodes last week and this week.
No. I mean, it was such a good, a good recommendation. I'm going to follow it up with like the weirdest one I've ever had, and it's going to sound so random, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I have a food. I have a food recommendation, or not?
Is it beef for
No. Not even a food recommendation. I have a condiment recommendation.
Oh,
which sounds so weird, but I have to tell you about this. And you can buy it of all places at Aldi. Do you guys have Aldi up by you? Is Aldi a thing?
There is an Aldi in my town, yes.
Okay, do you guys like stir fry? Like, Asian cuisine stir fry?
Sure.
There is a sauce that they carry at Aldi. It looks like the brand is Fusia, Fusia. It's called Bang Bang Asian style sauce. It is delicious, man. I make My wife makes shrimp stir fry, and this stuff just complements it so perfectly. It's got quite a bit of kick to it that I was not expecting. It's like an orange stir fry sauce that if you can find it at Aldi, Fuchsia Bang Bang sauce, it's so good that I've literally like taken some of the leftover rice from stir fry, taken it to work, and heated it up and just mixed in some of the sauce on my rice and just made like a meal out of it. It's that good. So, I told you it was random, but I want you to try it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. Anyway, thank you to Zack and Alyssa for being here. Love you both. It was awesome getting a chance to chat with you. Can't wait till next week. Again, when we do community episodes. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zack Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.